Hello, 8th graders. These are going to be your real-world rock cycle notes. You will be able to find this in the Rocks and Minerals portion of your OneNote notebook. So today we're going to draw our real-world rock cycle together. I gave you the startup line, and now we're going to start filling it in. So this is the real-world rock cycle. So since it's the real world, we need a little bit of sunshine in our lives. So let's get some highlighter yellow, go into the corner like a nice kindergarten page. We've got our sun shining, and then we'll get a little bit of green going here, a little grass green. I'm gonna make this, some of this green. And then this is a divot, and what usually fills up a valley but water. So let's make some wave action over here. All right, so we have a beautiful real world for our real world rock cycle. We're gonna start underneath. So let's get our black. Or you can really do whatever color you would like for this. So we're gonna start with magma below the surface. Let's zoom in a little bit because we're gonna be down here. We're gonna start with magma below the surface. Let's go a little thinner. Some magma. And magma is just lava underneath the surface. Let's do some highlighter red. Okay. And we're gonna show the magma pooling and then rising up to the surface. So the pressure's building and our magma is rising up to the surface. Sometimes it goes into offshoots. Okay, up next, it's building the pressure here until finally it breaks the surface and erupts into a volcano. So let's draw a nifty volcano here. Let's get some magma coming out the top there. Ooh, let's do this color. You can get a little bit of that color down here too if you want. Make it a little more realistic. Okay, that magma erupted onto the surface. Now sometimes the magma stays down here. And when it's inside the earth, we call that intrusive rock once it cools off. And once the magma spews out over here, sometimes, let's get a brown. Okay. Sometimes it hardens on the outside. And when it has exited the volcano, that is called our extrusive rock. Now, either one of these are both born from volcanoes. So this is going to be our igneous rock. So let's zoom out a little bit and put our igneous rock here. And we're going to do a little square around that igneous rock. Because we're going to make our three main types of rock in squares. Now, all that lava happened, it cooled off, and that's what actually created the rock. So we're going to write the first way that it was formed, the first process was cooling. And we're going to do this little ziggy-zaggy around it to show that that was cooling. So Magma rose up to the surface. Some of it didn't quite make it, and that's intrusive rock. Some of it made it, and that's extrusive rock. And both of those types of rock are igneous. Now, our rock is going to take a little bit of a journey. We're going to put it over here just so we have a little room to work. Here's our rock over here. It's cooled off, so it's a different color. And what comes along but a large cloud? So we have a large cloud over here, a large fluffy cloud. And it starts to rain on our rock. Now this, when this happens, is called weathering. And this is our start of our second type of rock. Because remember, all rock can be turned into all different types of rock. So this was a 1 down here. This is our second process called weathering. So we'll put it in our ziggy-zaggy. So it gets rained on and then it gets turned into little tiny pieces called sediment. So the sediment is here. It starts to fall down the hill a little bit. So it starts to move. This sediment starts to fall down the hill. And that, my friends, is our next process called erosion. So it gets a little wiggly outline because it's another process. Let's scoot into here, into our water. We need a little fishy in here. There we go, he's happy. Okay, so erosion has happened. That was our third type. That was our third type. And then it stops and it lands on the bottom over here. And it stops. And it's kind of like a bank. It gets put there and it stops, deposited, and so that is called deposition. It's getting deposited. That is our fourth process, is deposition. So since it's a process, it gets our squiggly outline. Mind the fish. After that deposition, comes over here and it hardens and gets stuck together. So let's get our rock color back. It's gonna harden and get compacted together and stuck or cemented together over here through other layers being on top of it, the pressure of the water, things of that nature. So this is called, let's zoom in a little bit, compaction and cementation. It's getting compacted and cemented together. It's another process, so it gets a 5 and our squiggle lines. And this type of rock is sedimentary. So we had igneous that formed from the melting of rock and then the cooling off. Sedimentary was weathering, then erosion, then deposition, then compaction and cementation. And now we're going to turn it into our last type of rock. And we're going to get a little bit of our red back here because we've got some heat. And some pressure. So through heat and pressure, which is another action, our sixth one. Heat and pressure happens and turns it into our last type of rock, which is our metamorphic rock. So it goes into a square. And if that metamorphic rock then melts again, it will turn back into magma. So more heat and pressure, too much of it turns it back into magma. Oh, we need the black. More heat and pressure. Don't forget it's a process, so it's got the squiggles. All right, I hope you learned a little something about rocks and real world rock cycles. Have a good day.